recording that part. So I am your host, Altavis Pelzer, the voice coach, professional speaker, certified life coach, and Amazon best-selling author. And again, this is the Speakeasy podcast where we talk about the behind the scenes of the speaker and author journey. A lot of you have been giving me feedback on the authors and speakers and entrepreneurs that I've had coming in. But guys, I want to tell you, I'm excited about today's message because guess what? Success is achievable, but how bad do you want it? You got to understand that success is always achievable. That thing that you said you wanted to accomplish, the thing that you said you really wanted to do, it's achievable, but how bad do you want it? How much work are you willing to put in for it? How early are you willing to get up, or how late are you willing to stay up in order to see that thing achieved? And so with that being said, I'm excited about our guest for today. Hey, Simone.
Hi.
And so I am excited because that is what she does. She helps women to achieve their success. And let's start it off by telling them a little bit about yourself, Simone.
Sure. Well, thanks so much for having me here. Is it Altavis? I feel like I have to concentrate to say your name, but hopefully I didn't do too bad. So thank you so much for having me here. I'm happy to share about myself. My journey is that I come from the Caribbean. I am a Jamaican, and we moved to the United States with my mom when I was in elementary school. And fast forward a lot, spent a lot of my career in corporate America. And it's only in the last few years, the last 3 years, that I have been out on my own, doing my own business. And you are right, in the intro, I empower women to succeed. I am super duper passionate about women's empowerment. And so a lot of speaking or writing that I do, or even teaching, is around women's empowerment. I created a My Life, My Way retreat that I offer every January, and it's focused on goal setting, planning, and masterminding for a life you want on your terms. So like you, I'm a certified coach, speaker, and entrepreneur. I'm a Jill of lots of trades.
And you know, that really stands out because we see right now, if you empower the women, you empower families, generations, you empower children. There are actually a lot of women that are raising children by themselves. And so empowering them really does set the precedence for, you know, what our future can look like. But with that being said, what's normally the first thing that you speak to them about when you're trying to empower these women?
Well, I think the first thing to do is to listen to their stories and their challenges and let them tell me, and let them, as you know, as a coach, guide the conversation to whatever their pain points are, whatever they need help with. The first thing I need to do is sort of become an expert on them, and they are the expert on themselves. So I need to listen. What's going on with you? What are you unhappy with? And, you know, once I'm able to better understand that, then I can say, here's how I can help you. And sometimes what I'll do in my office is I have a whiteboard. And so as someone's talking to me, I'm very visual, and I'll start sketching out, sort of in project management terms, an org chart of what they're saying and my thoughts, and then repeat it back to them to make sure I understand from the conversation what their challenges are.
That's definitely an amazing skill. That active listening is a huge skill that a lot of entrepreneurs miss, simply because we think that we know what it is they want. We think that we know what it is they need. And so instead of us just asking and actively listening to what it is our target audience is telling us, we'll go all around the mulberry bush and go and we'll go and create classes that nobody signs up for. We'll go and write books that nobody wants to read and nobody's buying. We'll go and do all of these things. But the thing about it is, if we just sat and had that active listening, if we just polled our audience, we really would have understood beforehand they didn't want that. They didn't necessarily want that. And so what is, when we think about this author and speaker journey and the level of success, what would you say is where you see people struggle the most when it comes to trying to access that success?
Well, I think you have to really think through being a speaker and being an author and being anything. You have to think through it. And it's not just about the talent. What I have found is that you can be as good as you want to be a speaker, but if you don't have the business acumen and you do not invest in educating yourself on how to run a business or how to be a profitable speaker or author, that part of it, then you are going to be challenged. And I certainly have found that along my journey, that it's not just about being a good speaker and someone said you did a great speech. There's a lot more to it.
Definitely. I always tell people that, this is a process. If you're an author, you're a speaker, you're also an entrepreneur. And so there's some key basic things that you need to have in your business that most people miss. They just completely bypass it. I don't know what it is. And then they get like further down the line and they're like, oh man, I wish I would have known this. I wish I would have set myself up for this. And I can tell you the number one thing I always see with authors is they think that the book is going to make them rich. It's going to make them famous. And, somehow, some way, Oprah's just going to get their book and they're going to be on Oprah's book list. And then they're going to be a millionaire the next day. And it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. Someone said to me that a book nowadays is a business card. It's your business card for gaining access. It does not mean that, like you said, you are rich. And I think the first one is really a learning process, a learning for you to learn what does it take to actually birth a book, and the writing, the editing, the graphics, all the pieces, the publishing, however you choose to do it. Understanding that so you can replicate it. I feel like that is a huge learning the first time around. So seeing your book out there when you've finally given birth is just pure joy, knowing that you have accomplished it, even if only your mom or your sisters buy the book. You should be super proud that you have been able to do that.
That is true. So true. Because a lot of times that is the ones that buy it the first time are those that really know you, that are really close, because we miss that marketing piece, right? And so when we go back to the communication piece, marketing is just communicating. That's all it is. It's showing somebody what it is you have to offer and showing them the benefits, showing them, I know when we look at commercials, they give us the side effects like way down in the corner, or they like kind of ramble them off at the end of the commercial. But that's what it is. I'm showing you what this can do for you, what it won't do for you, and if this is actually going to work. Now, I feel as though because we get inundated with so many commercials, we get so many authors, there's so many speakers, how would you tell somebody for them to stand out in a saturated market, so to speak? What would be something that you would tell them that they would need for their success journey to stand out from amongst the crowd?
Well, I think that you will uncover your brand. And first of all, I think that we are all unique individuals and we bring a different spin to content. So my book is about goal setting and planning and achieving your goals. And that's not a new concept, but that's my take on it. That alone makes it a unique product. So be proud of that. Sometimes we get caught up in, I can't figure out how to be different. I can't figure out how to be unique. Know that you alone are you, and it's your take on whatever the topic is. So embrace that, and then also allow yourself to discover your brand. So it's taken me a while to navigate and sort of figure out my brand and who I speak to. And I have to tell you that initially, when I would speak, women were drawn to me. They were my tribe, but I was afraid to say, I empower women to succeed, because I speak about diversity and inclusion. And I felt that I'm excluding men by saying or claiming that women are my tribe. But honestly, when I speak, there's men and women in the audience, but on a connection, deeper connection level, I'm speaking to the woman that's they are feeding me the energy that says, I hear you. And so I then change my tagline on LinkedIn and my branding to say, I empower women to succeed, because that is really what jazzes me up, and starting to claim that. And same thing with the My Life, My Way retreat, really building out the brand around that, and not being, it's sort of like, I shouldn't say that. I should be Simone Morris Enterprises, Ellen. But really, I'm moving more towards that My Life, My Way, and I empower women to succeed. So you allow yourself the time to uncover your brand, your journey, and be patient with yourself and celebrate your successes along the way.
Now, that's an important piece of it too, that, you know, a lot of times we get so focused on the end result. We get so focused on what's going to be at the finish line, doing our victory lap, doing our victory dance, that we forget to take in the journey. We miss out on the journey, when the journey is actually the most important part, because that's where you learn the lessons. So that way you can replicate that success later on down in life. But I found that there's a lot of people that they're so focused on, I got to get to the finish line, that you completely miss all of the things that came along with this journey. Like, I love being able to meet new people and connect and travel. I love all of those things. I would miss that if I was just so focused on just getting the money and that's it. Focus on the one launch and that's it. No, it's a journey. There's going to be some ups, some downs. There's going to be some good times and some bad, but it's the journey, because that's what allows me as a coach to be able to train somebody else from, you know, those bumps and bruises that I've received. I mean, that's a part of the process.
Absolutely. And what's coming up for me, and I'll just say it while you're talking, I'm thinking of an analogy to being a mom. I have a 3-year-old. And so when we found out we were having a girl, we were excited. So I'm not at the end stage, like, okay, I've delivered. I was excited about that. You know, I was excited about buying clothes, like, oh, the first outfit, or, oh, the shower. And each milestone leading up to it, you can be excited about, because honestly, you need that to support you on the journey. Because if you're just waiting to the end game, and what if you slip, you delay, and, you know, you're feeling bad about yourself, keeping track of these successes and these celebrations really fuel you to keep going.
And that's a good thing. Make sure that you're keeping track of them. Document. One of the things that, if you have learned nothing else from Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the things you need to do is document. Listen, I can tell you, and this is just an honesty moment, that if he did not document the things that he had been doing from way back when he first started doing YouTube videos, and when he first started, you know, out, if he had not been documenting, he may not have been at the position he's at right now. But it's because you can go back and you can look at those old videos. You can go back and you can look at the old things that he was talking about, and you can go and, you know, you can do the research. Well, guess what? Make it easier. Document it along the way. It's okay to take some pictures. It's okay to, you know, to put a post on social media that you're doing an event. It's your first event, or, you know, documentation helps. And I tell people all the time, Facebook is a snitch, and they have this whole thing called memories, and your memories will come up for whatever you did this day, 19 years ago, you know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, whatever you did, it pops back up. And that's a reminder, as well as it keeps you accountable, because that's a big piece of the success journey. So let's talk about that accountability. And, you know, some people say, oh no, I keep myself accountable. And I always say, and how is that working out for you? So what do you feel as though, when it comes to accountability and success, what level of accountability is needed, and what types of accountability is really needed?
Well, you have to know what works for you. When we started about you being your accountability partner, and I believe that there's some truth to that, because bottom line is the buck stops with you. You're the one who's going to have to do the work. So, and if your accountability partner fails, in their job, then you got to still keep going. Think about going to the gym. You say, let's go to the gym together. You say, listen, I'm not getting up. I'm tired. I was out late last night. I'm not going. It's up to you to still go to reach that goal. So there is some element of truth with the you are your best accountability partner. Now, you still have to understand that there are cases where you need additional support. So, for example, I was running a 10K. And I just was not getting it done. But I found these apps, Couch to 10K or Couch to 5K. And it was a regimented, in one instance, a 9-week program that had 3 days a week. And it said, you run for half an hour and you do this. And that was my accountability partner. And it worked. And then you have mastermind groups. I'm a big fan of mastermind groups, the Napoleon Hill concept, that you put these, 2 or more or 4, whatever the number is, these minds together, and it sort of catapults your thinking about what's possible. And in those groups, you can find like-minded people who are passionate about achieving goals to help keep you and also call you on your stuff, right? If you're not doing what you're supposed to do, they could say, hey, you said you were going to do X, Y, Z. And there's also coaches. A coach can do a really good job of helping you figure out what it is you want to do, the goals that you want to set, and hold you accountable and ask you the tough questions. That is the most powerful thing about being a coach, is allowing people to find themselves by really asking them those thought-provoking questions that make you go, wow, I can't hide. She sees me, or he sees me. I can't hide. So there are different levels of accountability. You can partner with another person who you feel could help you achieve. There are many, many different variations of accountability.
I definitely love the mastermind groups. And I know that for me, one of the things that I started was a accountability group, because I said that, listen, entrepreneurs, when it comes to accountability, there's this stigma that I'm scared to tell people my ideas. I'm scared to go and connect with other entrepreneurs because they're going to treat me wrong. They're going to steal my ideas, or they're going to do something to throw me off track, or there's so many different stigmas. And in order to break that, I said, no, we're going to have an accountability group. We're going to meet up every week. Why? Simply because we have some things to talk about. And that's one of the biggest things, is that not only are they meeting up every week, but they're looking out for each other. Mm-hmm. If one didn't show up, they're going to be in that person's inbox. Hey, everything okay? They're looking out for for each person is doing, because it's important. I want somebody to look out for me, so I'm going to look out for other people. And mastermind groups and accountability groups do an amazing job of that. And I'm always, always telling people, having a coach is phenomenal. But before getting into the mastermind group, before getting the coach, before getting an accountability partner, I always tell people, do your research. Because every mastermind group is not the same.
It sure isn't. And I have joined multiple mastermind groups to find what I'm looking for. And one of the things I'm planning to do is to create my own with some select individuals who I admire and I know are going to challenge my way of thinking and doing things. So I actually recently wrote on my blog an article about how to select a mastermind group that's right for you, because not all mastermind groups are the same or are going to work for you. You need to look at who the leader is, and believe it or not, you need to ask who's going to be in the group, because that is important, I have discovered. And I'll just leave it there.
Oh, no, you're not going to just leave it there. Because the reality is, that's the truth. When I was doing my mastermind group, when I was setting it up, one of my my VA at the time, she said to me, she said, you're not charging enough. And then I was like, but you know, I'm thinking this amount and this and that. She said, for what you offer and what you give and the dedication that you have, you're not charging enough. And I was like, wow. And so she started sending me mastermind groups that she had been a part of. And she said, oh my goodness, I've taken this one. And the mastermind stopped showing up halfway through the mastermind group. She said, I took this one and I haven't used anything that was taught in the mastermind group. She said, it's interesting because you have a lot of mastermind groups that want you in the mastermind, but they're not really looking for you to succeed. And I'm like, wait, but isn't that the purpose of the mastermind group? Is so that everybody in the mastermind group can succeed.
Yeah.
So it baffled me. It made me sad, for one, because I know that there's probably a ton of people that have gotten into these mastermind groups and that probably completely destroyed them. It completely set them, you know, to say that I'm quitting, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm not even going to try. And that's sad when you think about it. That is really sad.
Yeah. So you really do have to be a little strategic about it. Know what you want to be your outcome of being in the group. Keep that top of mind, and make sure you get educated on how to be a part of the group so that you contribute the way you want to. You give and you receive. And I think that's not everywhere.
Right. That cost of commitment is heavy sometimes. And so you need to know what it is that you're going to be doing in order to make that a reality. So with that being said, I always ask people, what has been a blunder for you in this journey so far? Because I know life happens, situations occur, but what's one of those moments where you're like, oh my goodness, if I knew now, if I knew then what I know now, I wouldn't have made that decision.
Oh, okay. Well, so I wasn't investing in myself because I thought the dollars that I had to be an entrepreneur were to be used to be an entrepreneur. And I didn't fully understand that part of that process is me being educated on the business aspect of being an entrepreneur. And so I just checked myself in 2018 that in order to get a different result, I'm going to need to do something differently. And that means that I am going to have to put my money where my mouth is, and I'm going to start investing in myself instead of waiting for someone else to invest in me. So this year alone, I've been to 3 professional development conferences. I wasn't doing that before because I was like, you know, moving money around to do this. This is important. And I wasn't including professional development as a part of it and prioritizing business acumen when I cannot stress enough how important it is to invest in ensuring you are educated and you have the right players around. You have an accountant, you have a lawyer, you have a financial planner, you have a VA. I mean, just the success team that's in play. And so that's apart from being able to write well and speak well. This is the business part of it. And I was not in the early days investing the way that I should. And so now I'm like, already thinking about, oh, what am I going to do next year in terms of training?
That's important as well. I found myself reaching out more and going. This was the thing that I said, and it was from my business coach, you know, going to areas and circles where that's not your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. It's not people that you know. Like, stop going to so many. I think people get comfortable. And we go and we say, okay, I'm going to go to events or I'm going to go and network. And then we want to go places where we know everybody. We want to go places where we're comfortable because we're like, okay, well, I'm comfortable here. I can talk to people. No. That's not the road to success. The road to success is in your uncomfortable places. So I got to go to places where I hardly know anybody. And that was really set in motion in 2017 when I was able to go to San Diego to a podcasting convention, a podcasting summit, and 200 people in the room. I knew 2 other people in the room. And so out of 200, I knew 2. And when I tell you it was an amazing experience, because one of the top things that I made sure I did by going to this conference was that I challenged myself. Mm-hmm. I challenged myself not to be a wallflower, not to sit in the back of the room. I challenged myself to stand out. And guess what? The majority of everybody knew my name before I left.
That's awesome. I love that.
The majority of everyone knew my name before I left. I got up and danced. The organizer of the event, he called me by name to come on the stage and dance, and it was crazy. But by the end of the weekend, everybody knew my name. People were, reaching out. I've connected with a lot of them, and still am connected with a lot of them on social media. A bunch of podcasters, and they're doing some phenomenal things. But it was amazing. Get out of your zone, get out of your head, get out of that comfort space, let go of the security blanket. Go ahead, let go. Get some other things in place so that way you can move forward in the success of your business. So guys, I love this discussion because oftentimes, success is always an iffy conversation because people think of success as the money and the cars and the house, but it's not necessarily that. One of the things that I love for me was success for me was freedom. It was freedom from my job. It was freedom to be able to do more with my children, freedom to be able to travel and speak. It was that freedom, but for everybody, it's not the same. And so my last question to you, Simone, is what was success for you?
Success was identifying a brand separate from an organization. And what I mean by that is that I worked for a company for a long time, and I got lost behind the company's brand, so much so that when people saw me, they would ask about the company. And I just was like, I need to create a brand that is recognizable. And so you hear me shouting from the rooftops on social media, this is what I'm doing, I'm here, I'm there, at the Simone Morris brand. And that's purposeful because I just feel that I've worked so hard to create a legacy. And that's so important. Success is legacy, right? Laying foundation for my daughter to have access to just a different level of life. I grew up very well, but just from an entrepreneurship standpoint is what I mean, laying foundation. And so feeling like I'm finally making some traction, I'm building relationships that are strategic, that people are turning back and putting a hand out to help me because of that, because of my brand. And that makes me so proud. Getting the book finally done, it's not that monetary, and I'm working on the second one. It should be coming in a couple months, but just feeling like I can do things. So there's part of it that is internal, feeling good about yourself and knowing that you are, the gardener, you're laying the foundation and it is going to bloom in time is just, I feel like that's a good thing.
I love that. And guys, so I asked you guys the question, what is success for you? That's definitely you don't have to answer in the comments, but definitely make sure that you answer that question for yourself. Because yes, success is going to be different for each and every person. And if I'm looking at somebody else's success and I'm trying to attain what they've made, that's not my success. So I won't finish out the journey. I'll get distracted. I'll get discouraged. Or I will gain their success and still be unsatisfied. And I think that we see that happens very often, that people have attained this level of success, but it wasn't the success that they really wanted. And so they've become very unsatisfied with the life. They've become unsatisfied with the accomplishments that they've really made. So I need you to make sure that you are really, really to putting that definition really clear in front of your face, on your wall, on your mirror, on your laptop, on your fridge. What does success look like for you? So that way you can move towards it. So that was another episode of the Speakeasy podcast. You guys know I love when you guys come in. You guys have been killing it with the replays. Don't forget, if you're catching it on the replay on Facebook, Simone will come and she will post her information in the comments so that way you can connect with her directly. Also, if you're catching this on any of the other platforms, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, the description is going to be below the video and you can connect with Simone across social media. So let them know how they can connect with you, Simone, and how they can get your book as well.
Okay, thank you. And thank you. I've had so much fun. It went by very quickly. So you can find me at SimoneMorris.com. My book is available on Amazon. It's called Achievement Unlocked, Strategies to Set Goals and Manifest Them. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Pinterest. And I'm on YouTube actually as well. So it's all Simone Morris Ent is the handle, and Twitter as well.
Great. So I appreciate you guys. And don't forget, if you are a speaker or author, if you're in the journey, the process of doing the journey now, or if you have already published your first book, done your first speech, I would definitely love to have you on as a guest. bit.ly/speakeasy podcast, all lowercase, is how you can pick your date to be able to come and be a guest on the show. Guess what? I am also doing some great things as we rebrand. You guys know that we just hit year number 1, the first year mark. We made it 1 whole year, guys, of doing the Speakeasy podcast. And in celebration of that, I will be doing in the next few weeks, on the next few Wednesdays, you will see literally blog posts on my blog with all of these speakers and authors and publishers and those who have done interviews on the Speakeasy podcast. There's going to be one day dedicated each week that I'll be sharing out the replays of their videos, and that'll be going on well into the end of the year, just so you can catch up on some of the amazing tips and information that has been handed out to you. That part. And you know, guys, it's all about #LoveMyVoice over on this end. With that being said, I appreciate you guys. And until next time, don't forget to press it out. See ya.